Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam and pizza shapes are the best shapes, followed by barbecue and chicken crimpy in that order. And today we're here to zero in on the man who makes the entirety of One Piece possible. From an in-world perspective that is, and that guy face is a Roger. The former pirate king and currently legacy legend. The world government may try to cover up his delightful deeds, but today we are going to embark on some Roger-based appreciation with 10 fun facts that you did not know about Roger, and if you did, I don't care because there's still gonna be fun. Also, before we begin, this video marks the beginning of September, where for the entire month of September, every time someone subscribes to this channel, we will be donating 10 cents to Make-A-Wish Australia, a group who work to grant life-changing wishes for children with critical illness. There has never been a better time to press that beautiful red button and become a member of the Grand Fleet, which will also result in consistent injections of One Piece culture administered directly into your YouTube feed. There's also a link in the description to our fundraising page if you'd like to donate directly, and later on in the video, we're even going to be giving away a figure of the Pirate King himself to a subscriber of the channel, so there's like a billion different reasons to just push the button. And please do say hi in the comments below if you are a new member of the Grand Fleet. Welcome. But to begin our Roger-based extravaganza, fun fact number 1 is that, weirdly enough, Roger has been quite a traditionally unpopular character. And this is information that we can track through the various character polls that have been run throughout the last 24 years. So for example, in the very first poll, Roger ranked pretty powerfully in 13th place. However, that is a very ominous and unlucky number, which would foreshadow Roger's fate in the 2nd to 5th polls, which covered 2002 to 2014, where Roger did not rank at all, with the exception of the 4th poll, where he came a whoppingly dissatisfying 83rd place. So despite being the centerpiece mystery of this entire narrative journey, readers and watchers have kept him primarily in the back of their minds. Although he has seen something of a grand resurgence of late, as in the World Top 100 poll, he did slot in quite nicely in 29th place, which I attribute almost entirely to the Odin flashback. Everything about that really did kick off a kind of Roger renaissance. Prior to that, Roger was very stereotypical Yarmy Hearties boomer pirate, but the Odin flashback made him a hip and cool Zoomer pirate with an open chest pastel pink shirt. But Roger's boomer nature is important because he comes from a well-weathered era. And fun fact number 2 is that Roger did not simply travel the Grand Line once, but he made the complete voyage at least twice. And these journeys were quite some time apart as well. The Roger pirates actually landed on Lodestar Island 39 years ago, whilst Roger's final voyage did not commence until 28 years ago, which I find fascinating because that's a gigantic 11-year gap, during which time he was doing, well, what exactly? I mean, yes, there was the incident with Rocksteady Zebek on God Valley, but it may very well be the case that Roger spent those 11 years painstakingly hunting down the scattered poneglyphs that Luffy and the Straw Hats have just kind of conveniently and continuously stumbled upon in the space of less than 3 years. In terms of poneglyph acquisition, Luffy is the 1%. Roger had to work hard for his indestructible cube things, whilst Luffy was served his poneglyphs cooked to perfection on a silver platter. And not only that, but Roger would be further insulted by fun fact number 3, which is that he was misnamed by history. Goldie Roger was of course known to his close friends and unfortunate enemies as being a wielder of the mighty D. However, in a sort of propaganda extravaganza, the world government renamed Goldie Roger to just Gold Roger, which makes all the sense in the world, and you can still see it in action in the modern day. For example, when Sengoku made the Ace Baby Daddy reveal, he used the name Gold Roger, not Gold. However, what I want to know is why they renamed Roger but none of the other famous Ds. Like, why would the world government go to some pretty great lengths to publish Luffy's name as Monkey D. Luffy? Why not just publish a bounty without his middle initial or just call him Straw Hat Luffy? Same thing for Blackbeard as well. They could have just printed Blackbeard on his bounty, but instead they identify him specifically as Marshall D. Teach. And even with Garp, there's a problem. I mean, Garp works for the world government, so why is he allowed to just flaunt his D around in public, huh? It's government censorship that's every bit as effective as, say, blacking out the letter D in the sentence, "Big conspiracy, look here." And in fact, you know there's not even a D in that sentence, so yet another indicator of very poor secret keeping. Roger, however, does have a lot of secrets, many of which are contained within his bounty number, which is 5,564,800,000 berries, which might seem like a very arbitrary assortment of stupidly big numbers, but this amount is almost excruciatingly well constructed. And this is due to the Japanese language phenomenon of gorowase, where the various different readings of numbers can form entire words or even sentences of their own. So in this case, the sequential numbers of 6, 4, and 8 in Roger's bounty can be read as Roshiya, or Roshia, obviously referring to his name Roger. And the other numbers are far from random as well, as they link us to other series characters. The double 5 in the beginning is a reference to Roger's son Ace with his bounty of 550 million berries, which, you know, Zero also begins with a double 5, and the 5 and 6 is a direct reference to Luffy's key number in the series, which is 56, which can obviously be Gorowased into Gomu. So within this one string of numbers, we have referenced Ace, Luffy, and of course Roger himself. Japanese is stupidly cool. I really wish I could spell my name out with numbers. Actually, I think I can. So we start with backwards upside down 7, then take a 1 and a 4, then take a 3, turn it horizontal, and bam, that's a Liam. Speaking of names, Roger, fun fact number 5 is how he came up with his son's name. Ace, look, it's a cool name and all, although I do wonder how Mr. Firefist would react if he discovered that he had been in fact named after his father's prized sword. That is correct, Roger's blade was also named Ace, and to be fair, it's one of the 12 supreme grade Meito, so it's one of the top tier items in this world, but an item nonetheless. Now, a lot of people are going to get up my crap now and tell me that Rouge was the one who named Ace, which, yeah, is technically true. But generally, couples tend to discuss the names of their children together before assigning them, and I have no doubt that the Ace option came from Roger's sword. Otherwise, it would be the most absurd coincidence of all time. Like that one time a 10-year-old girl named Laura Buxton released a balloon, and that balloon was found by another 10-year-old girl whose name was also Laura Buxton. That's weird. Side note though, we still have no idea what happened to Ace, the sword Ace, that would be. But would anyone be keen for Luffy to eventually discover and maybe even wield it in battle? That way we have another Luffy, Ace, Roger dynamic sort of thing happening. Or not, in fact, just give it to Zoro because he'll probably use it better. Alright, let's give away this bad boy. If you would like to acquire this glorious piece of One Piece, then all you need to do is subscribe or be subscribed to the Grand Line Review, and then comment telling me in a concise sentence or two, what is your favorite thing about Goldie Roger? Your entry will then be put into a draw and the winner will be announced on the channel. And yes, you do need to be subscribed to enter because YouTube has this handy little feature that tells me who is and who is not subscribed. Full details are in the description below, and also don't forget that every subscription contributes to Make-A-Wish Australia. So do the thing and win the guy. Back to Roger though, fun fact, well, whatever we're up to, 6, I think it is. Whatever it is, this one is a bit more terrifying because Roger did not receive that 5.5 billion berry bounty for nothing, and allegedly on one occasion, Roger was responsible for destroying an entire army belonging to an unknown nation. This information was sprinkled out by Garp, and the reason why Roger decimated an entire country's military force is reportedly because someone who remains unidentified said a mean thing about one of Roger's friends. So Roger got slightly uncontrollably infuriated and took vengeance by bringing the military force of this whole country to its knees. Seems legit. I mean, thinking about it, it's not too different from what a certain Luffy would do. We are talking about the Straw Hat Clad Man who, along with his crew, defeated 100,000 of the new fisherman pirates. And Garp does also quite notably state that Roger's intentions were pure and childlike. Although sometimes childlike is not the best of things, children are well known to throw tantrums after all, and as a bit of a result of that, Roger does have a reputation for being violent, short-tempered, and self-centered. Which, to be perfectly honest, is exactly what I would expect from someone labeled the Pirate King, which slides us very conveniently into the DMs of Roger Fun Fact 7, which is that for all of this Pirate King business, Roger did not give himself that crown, nor did he ever really refer to himself as such. After word had spread that Roger had conquered the Grand Line, it was the media who came up with the idea to bestow him with the title of Pirate King, which Roger did quite like, although they continued to misspell his name, so that was mildly annoying. But to think that the title that everyone in the series is fighting for was nothing more than a media fabrication that Roger himself never even sought is pretty interesting. Legitimately, every big shot pirate in One Piece is putting their lives on the line for a title that was probably crapped out of the cloaca of Big News Morgans. That or the cloaca of whoever owned the World Economic newspaper before him, but it was definitely someone's cloaca. Speaking of how various creatures poop, Brook comes to mind. I don't know why. But Roger fun fact number 8 is that Brook would technically be Roger's senpai. There's a very fun part of the Sabati arc where Brook states that he remembers a rookie with Roger's name. Which sub fun fact here, Brook remembers his name as Gold Roger. So even when Roger was a rookie pirate, the world government was still hiding that important D factor. Which, I don't know, is it a conspiracy at this point? Or was it just someone who made a spelling error? And then for the sake of continuity and wanting to look, semi-competent, the world government government just ran with it and kept calling him Gold Roger. Sort of like how Viz made the 4Kids error of naming Zoro Zolo, and now they're stuck with the continuity of Zolo for the official translation. But really, Brook does deserve far more respect than he gets because he is the elder of Roger, Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard, and even Garp. Then again, he is 90 years old and still obsessed with panties and poop, so actually, maybe we're giving him too much credit. Especially in a video about Roger, so let's actually get back to that with Furious Fun Fact number 9, which is all about birthdays. Yay. Roger's birthday is on December 31st, New Year's Eve, which is far from randomly chosen. In fact, there is no date more perfect because the entirety of One Piece begins in a state of New Year's Eve. Metaphorically, of course. Not literally, because obsessive weirdos like, I guess me, know that Roger's execution took place around late September to early October. And we know that because of reasons. But back to the thing that was the thing, we see Roger on the execution platform in the dying days of his era. And following his execution, a new era is born. A golden age of piracy, a new year, if you will, which is also reflected in Ace because his birthday is on New Year's Day. But this also ties quite conveniently into fun fact, the 10th one, being that Roger's final moments vary pretty radically from the anime to the manga. If you're an anime-only fan, you'll probably be very familiar with this guy. He has no name, but he is the one who asks Roger about his treasure, to which Roger answers with his world-famous line. However, this guy does not exist in the manga. We just open up on some narration and Roger states his treasure line completely unprompted, which really makes me wonder how this went down in the anime canon, because surely this guy is a plant, right? Someone Roger purposely threw into the crowd with a pretend question so that he could go, oh, well, thank you for asking, random unassociated person. My treasure happens to be right where I left it. And something golden age of piracy begins. You all know how it goes. But if you'd like to begin something, then begin another video. This one, for example, it's about the thing that you like, which is One Piece, because there's always more to learn, explore, and experience with this wonderful series, so I look forward to seeing you there.